Hello, ghosties. You're listening to Not My Ghost.
Not My Problem. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Jen.
Whether you're a skeptic, a true believer, or somewhere in between, join us for a journey into the unknown.
Because remember, when it comes to the paranormal, it may not be our problem.
But it's certainly someone's problem.
Happy, or maybe not so happy, we don't know yet, day after the election.
Correct, yeah. I'm hoping that we'll be very, very happy, but we are recording this the week before the election, and it is being released the day after the election, so we don't know yet.
We do not know yet. But this is an election president-y themed episode.
Yes.
In honor of Election Day. That was yesterday.
I would like to say to all of our listeners that I am sick, so if you hear me breathing a little too heavily, I'm just trying to get oxygen because I need it to live, and it is hard to obtain right now.
Yeah, that pesky oxygen just messing everything up.
I know.
We are very early in the episode announcing that we are in our scripted, unscripted banter.
Look at that. Good job, Jen.
I know. I'm on it today.
What you get some ADHD medication or something?
I have not. I don't know how my brain is still functioning at 7:00 at night after working all day, but it is. It's here.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I know. It's great. And I have a question for you.
Okay.
If you could choose one cryptid to encounter, which one would it be and why?
You go first.
All of them. No, I'm kidding. This was a really hard one, and I went back and forth several times, and I want to see them all. But I think I have to go with the chupacabra because I have to know, is it a reptile or is it a canine?
Okay, so that's exactly what I was thinking, but I will choose a different answer because you chose that one. But I am with you on that.
Yeah, I have to know. I have to know what it looks like.
As terrifying as it would be, I got to see Mothman, I think.
Oh, that's a good one.
I just have to see it.
Yeah. My close second choice was Bigfoot just because it's so iconic.
I just feel like there's a lot of like Bigfoot sightings out there. There's a lot of footage where you can kind of see some, but you don't really have anything for Mothman, really.
No. The other one that I was going back and forth, and this might just be because I watched the episode of Expedition X on it earlier this week, Nessie.
I just watched that recently too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in their new season.
I'm not a big fan of like the Loch Ness Monster. It just doesn't excite me.
No, I think it's classic. I like it. I like all cryptids. I want to meet them all. I want every single one of them to be real.
Maybe we could start a cryptid support group.
Yes.
Yeah, and we can just invite them all to come. Yeah. We can talk through their issues. I'm sure they want to be seen and validated and heard, right?
And I'm sure like Bigfoot wants someone to take a non-grainy picture of them.
Right. And I mean, we've both been through enough therapy. We could probably run one of these.
We could. That'd be a great group. We could bring snacks. We'd have to make sure to have enough snacks that everybody's taste would be, met.
And maybe we discover that Chupacabra's just got like dissociative identity disorder.
Probably.
Sometimes it's a reptile and sometimes it's a canine.
He's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
There you go.
The canine's probably cute and cuddly, and then when he gets pissed, he turns into the reptile.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea. We're going to do it.
I do too. We're doing cryptid support group. Tell your friends. Okay, let's go ahead and dive right into this episode because I know that you are sick and not feeling well. So we're just going to get right into it.
Okay.
Because you're here powering through.
I am powering through today. We just recorded our Patreon bonus episode for October. The second
for
one
Halloween.
For October.
Specific.
For Halloween.
Yeah, it was a fun one.
It was fun, but we do need to power through because I need to go to bed. I'm tired.
Yeah, I know. And I don't know how much longer my brain is going to still keep working, so might as well just go. This episode is a special one because we are diving into the paranormal history of one of the most powerful and iconic places in the country, the White House. As Election Day is fresh in everyone's minds, it only seems fitting that we explore the hauntings and ghostly encounters that have occurred within the walls of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. The White House is far more than just a political landmark. It is also home to some restless spirits with some stories to tell. Now, you're probably still recovering from last night's results, whichever way they went, but we're just going to take a step away from the current headlines and we're going to focus on the hauntings that transcend time. Ghosts, as it turns out, don't care who's in office. They've been lingering through administration after administration with tales that go back centuries. You ready to hear some fun facts about the White House?
Give me the fun facts, but you better follow it up with some scary facts.
I got some scary ones too.
Awesome.
Actually, the scary facts are DC related because I didn't want to tell you the scary stuff before I get into the stories of the White House. But still,
right.
Fun facts, White House has its own movie theater. The movie theater was originally a cloakroom, but now White House boasts a private movie theater where presidents and their families can catch the latest films.
That's cool.
Also, there is a bowling alley in the White House. President Harry S. Truman added it was a one-lane bowling alley in 1947, but I can personally tell you that it is a two-lane bowling alley because I have been there and I have bowled at the White House.
That's awesome.
I know. It's one of my cool things. Actually, I should start using that as my 2 truths and a lie, that I've bowled in the White House.
Oh, yeah. That'd be good.
Yeah. So now everyone on here knows. But yeah, no, they have a bowling alley. It is 2 lanes. It is literally in the bowels of the White House, underground. It was kind of creepy to get there, but it was super cool and fun. I used to have a friend of my ex that worked at the White House, and he booked it for a day, and a bunch of him and his friends and me and my ex went. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is also a swimming pool under the press briefing room. It used to be a full-size indoor swimming pool, and it was installed by President Franklin D. Roosevelt, but covered over during Nixon's administration to create the current press briefing room.
Cool.
Okay, ready for some scary facts?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so the Hay Adams Hotel in Washington, D.C. is a very historic hotel, and it is said to be haunted by the spirit of Marion Hooper Adams, the wife of writer Henry Adams. She allegedly took her own life, and guests report hearing sobbing and unexplained cold spots in her former suite.
Henry Adams.
Yeah. I don't know who that is, but
I'm trying to remember. I know the name. I can't place the writings, but anyway, go ahead. No. I'm sorry.
There is an old mansion near the White House called the Octagon House, and it has its own haunting legends. During the War of 1812, it temporarily housed President James Madison and his wife, Dolly, and several spirits, including that of a young woman who fell down the stairs, are said to haunt its halls.
Why are women always falling down the stairs during this time? There's a lot of women falling down stairs and haunting places.
Hey, Kelly, they were probably pushed.
Oh my God, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I never think about that?
Yeah. But of course, no one would charge their husbands with anything because they're men.
God damn it, Jen. You ruined my whole evening.
Sorry. Why do you think all the women that fell downstairs are now haunting the locations that they died at?
That's a very good point.
They're trying to avenge their murder from their husband, father, brother, or whatever shitty man in their life decided to kill them.
Okay.
Yeah. There's also a old stone house located in Georgetown. And now the old stone house is one of the oldest structures in DC, and it is said to be haunted by numerous spirits, including a malicious entity named as George, who has reportedly pushed visitors and made his presence felt, maybe downstairs, it didn't say, but he's made his presence felt through dark and oppressive energy.
Oh, I guess his name is George because it's Georgetown.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? Okay. we ready for the history of the White House?
Give me the history. I love history.
I'll give you the history. And I kept this part short because there's probably books and books that we could talk about the history of the White House, but we're just going to hit the big pieces.
Okay.
Situated along the banks of the Potomac River, the location of the nation's capital was chosen after an extensive debate and compromise between Southern and Northern representatives in the late 1780s. I want to be in the room where it happens, room where it happens. That's how it happened, right?
I can only assume that everything Hamilton says in that musical is 100% accurate.
It has to be,
Why?
right?
Because it's very catchy and I sing it a lot. So it must be true.
It has to be true. That's how I learned my history. If they would have had musicals like that when I was in school,
right?
I would be a history buff.
I would have learned so much about everything if we could only have sang it.
Right? Sang it to a catchy rap tune.
I might even understand math.
You might. That's what they need to do. Gosh.
Right.
The Residence Act of 1790 designated the capital's placement along the Potomac River and granted President George Washington the authority to determine its precise location. Washington selected the spot where the north walls and main entrance of the White House would be built. This placement symbolically connected the president's house to the U.S. Capitol via Pennsylvania Avenue. Its construction began in 1792 with the laying of the cornerstone. Washington chose a design submitted by Irish-born architect James Hager, and after 8 years of building, President John Adams and his wife Abigail became the first residents of the still unfinished residence in 1800. Now, most people know George Washington was the only president that did not live in the White House.
Yes.
But he did help design and pick its location.
That's cool that it's honored. He was at least honored in that way.
Yeah. The White House has survived significant events, including being set on fire by those pesky British forces during the War of 1812. This destructive event of retaliation for the U.S. burning of York, which is modern-day Toronto, and it nearly demolished the house entirely. James Hager, the same architect, was brought back to oversee its reconstruction, and President James Monroe moved into the rebuilt home in 1817. The house continued to evolve during Andrew Jackson's presidency with the addition of the north portico in 1829, completing the iconic look that we recognize today.
What's a portico?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Is it the big columns?
Yeah. Yes, it's the big. Sure. Why not? For this purposes of this episode, it is that.
It's the big columns? I don't know. It said its iconic look. That's what I think when I think of the White House.
Okay.
Maybe it was the porch. Portico, porch. I don't know. Somebody look it up and tell us. We don't know. Over the years, the White House underwent several expansions and renovations to meet the growing demands of the presidency. In 1902, President Theodore Roosevelt oversaw a major renovation, relocating the president's office from the residence to what is now known as the West Wing. His successor, William Howard Taft, added the Oval Office in 1909. And I do just want to point out, as someone who has seen the Oval Office and technically slipped her foot underneath the rope and has stepped foot in it, just the foot, not the rest of my body, because I probably would have been tackled by Secret Service, but I did put a foot in the Oval Office. It is much smaller than they make it appear on TV.
Interesting.
I was shocked because I pictured it to just be this large room, and it was not as big as I imagined it would be.
Huh.
Yeah. Less than 50 years later, during Harry S. Truman's presidency, the White House required extensive renovations due to severe structural issues. The entire interior was gutted, leaving only the outer walls intact. The rebuilding process, completed in 1952, maintained the historical facade while modernizing the interior for future administrations.
Alrighty.
Yeah. Despite these changes, the White House remains not only the official residence of the president, but also a symbol of American history and power. It has 132 rooms, 35 bathrooms, and 6 levels, along with 412 doors, 147 windows, and 28 fireplaces. The White House kitchen can serve dinner to as many as 140 guests or hors d'oeuvres to over 1,000 people. And fun fact, it takes 570 gallons of paint to cover the exterior of the building.
That's interesting.
Yeah. The White House was officially named by President Theodore Roosevelt in 1901, but its iconic white color dates back to the late 18th century. Originally, the building was constructed with a grayish sandstone, and the building received its first lime-based whitewash in 1798. Not the only thing that's been whitewashed. To protect the stone.
It always has been.
It always has been whitewashed. And this happened to protect the stone from moisture and cracking during the winter freezes. After the British set fire to the building in the War of 1812, white paint was applied to cover the burn marks and further shield the porous stone from weathering. Though the term White House occasionally appeared in newspapers throughout the 19th century, it was more commonly known as the President's House or the Executive Mansion, until Roosevelt made its name official.
I kind of like the Executive Mansion.
Yeah, me too. The story of the White House, also, as most things in American history, includes a darker, less-known chapters, such as the fact that much of its construction was carried out by the enslaved African Americans and immigrant laborers. This is part of the complex legacy of this very historical landmark.
Yes.
But today, the White House remains not only a functioning residence and office, but also a living museum that does open its doors to the public, offering a glimpse into the heart of the American political life. Now, I have been lucky enough to tour the White House twice, like the actual West Wing, and that was really cool.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I've never been.
Yeah, it's super cool. We went once during the Obama administration, and then again during the Trump administration. And one of the things that the West Wing does is, because the president has like a personal photographer, and as they take pictures throughout their presidency, they blow up these pictures and hang them on the wall, right?
Okay.
When you go in during Obama's administration, he has pictures of him in the Oval Office, like kneeling, talking to kids, hugging family, like all like just these warm pictures of this like person that's just doing good. And it's just, they're all like candid photos. There's no like portraits of him. They're just like him actually just living life. It was great.
Okay.
And then you go back during the Trump administration and you've got this serious orange looking Oompa Loompa that looks posed in every single picture that's hanging. No candid photos whatsoever. But
I thought you were going to say just a big picture of like a KFC bucket or something.
Would have been better. Now we are going to talk about the handful of people that have died in the White House.
Okay.
2 presidents and 3 first ladies have all died in the White House. President William Henry Harrison passed away on April 4th, 1841, just 1 month after his inauguration. While traditionally it was believed that he died from pneumonia, recent research actually suggests that it was typhoid fever that likely killed him.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he did die in the White House, yeah. President Zachary Taylor also died in the White House on July 9th, 1850, after suffering from a gastrointestinal illness, probably cholera.
Oh, fun.
Mm-hmm. And as for the first ladies, Letitia Tyler passed away on September 10th, 1842, after having a stroke. Caroline Harrison succumbed to tuberculosis on October 25th, 1892. And Ellen Wilson died from Bright's disease on August 6th, 1914.
I have no idea what Bright's disease is.
I also have no idea what that is.
Huh, okay.
Yeah. While Harrison and Taylor are the only two presidents to have actually died in the White House, there were two others, Warren G. Harding, who had a heart attack, and Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had cerebral hemorrhage, also died while in office, though not in the residence themselves. Additionally, 4 presidents, Abraham Lincoln, James Garfield, William McKinley, and John F. Kennedy, were all assassinated while serving. 7 presidents have lain in repose in the White House East Room: William Henry Harrison, Zachary Taylor, Abraham Lincoln, William McKinley, Warren G. Harding, Franklin D. Roosevelt, and John F. Kennedy. The only president who died in office but did not rest in the East Room was James Garfield, whose remains lay in state at the U.S. Capitol due to his death occurring away from Washington, D.C.
I thought that some of the presidents had children that died.
I didn't find anything specifically about that. Not in the White House. I could be wrong, but are you ready for the spooky tales? The ghost stories?
Give me the spooky tales.
Did you know that there were once seances held in the Red Room of the White House?
I believe that there were seances held everywhere back in the 1800s.
You are probably correct.
Okay.
While death is an inevitable part of life, shaping the human experience in profound ways, when a loved one passes, the survivors are left to navigate through the difficult process of grief, often seeking comfort through various means. Over time, the way people mourn have evolved significantly, with organized religion and spiritual practices offering solace and connection to those who have passed. Many ghost stories from the White House, particularly those involving the Lincoln family, trace back to the 19th century, a time when spiritualism and seances gained popularity. The Civil War drastically changed how Americans viewed death and influenced their mourning practices. Spiritualism, as you said, was a belief that claims that the dead can communicate with the living. And while it did exist long before the Civil War, it really gained its widespread popularity through the mid to the late 19th century. The Civil War, with its unprecedented death toll, left many families without a traditional means to grieve. As traditional religion struggles to offer the necessary comfort, spiritualism rose in popularity, providing a new avenue for grieving survivors to seek closure. Seances were led by mediums who claimed to communicate with the dead, and they became a common practice for those searching for contact with those lost loved ones. The appeal of spiritualism reached beyond its ordinary citizens, influencing prominent figures like First Lady Mary Lincoln. Now, Mary was born into a wealthy Protestant family in 1818, and she endured significant personal loss throughout her life, including the death of her mother, 3 out of her 4 children, and then, of course, the assassination of her husband, President Abraham Lincoln. She turned to spiritualism after the death of her son, Willie, in 1862. She found comfort in seances conducted by the Lauries, who were a well-known group of mediums in Georgetown. Mary Lincoln hosted her own seances in the White House, holding as many as 8 sessions, with President Lincoln reportedly attending a few of them.
Okay.
Yeah. Through these seances, Mary believed she could communicate with her deceased sons, Willie and Eddie, bringing her a lot of comfort. She once confided to her half-sister, "Willie lives. He comes to me every night and stands at the foot of my bed. Kelly, if you died, please do not come to me every night and stand at the foot of my bed."
Oh, you know I will.
Damn it.
I'll have to pop in at least once.
Well, yeah, once is fine, just not every night.
Well, once a night.
God damn it. You know my rules, Kelly. Shower, bed.
Okay, fine. When you get up to pee in the middle of the night, I will be standing in your hallway staring at you.
Perfect. I can handle that. Just not while I'm in bed. My bed is my safe place.
You have boundaries. I respect them.
Thank you. Respect my boundaries. The practice of spiritualism, while offering solace to many, also came under a lot of scrutiny due to societal pressures. The Civil War's toll on the nation, claiming 750,000 lives made spiritualism a vital coping mechanism for countless of Americans. Historian Drew Gilpin Faust noted that the particular circumstances of the war often made it difficult for mourners to process their grief. Many families were left with little or no information about their loved ones' deaths, making the tragic stages of mourning impossible. The Lincoln family's ghost stories, especially those involving President Abraham Lincoln himself, are among the most famous in the White House. Lincoln's assassination sent shockwaves through the country, and rumors of his ghost soon began circulating. His spirit is said to haunt the Lincoln bedroom and the Yellow Oval Room, with notable figures like First Lady Grace Coolidge and Queen Wilhelmina of the Netherlands reportedly seeing his apparition. These stories were fueled in part by Jeremiah Jerry Smith, a long-time White House employee who enjoyed spinning tales of ghostly sightings, which we'll talk about him in a little bit more detail in a minute.
Okay.
Now, in 1870, Mary Lincoln secretly visited William H. Mueller, a spirit photographer who was accused eventually of being a fraud. And she wanted to be photographed with what she believed to be the ghost of her late husband. Despite skepticism, the photograph depicting Lincoln's ghost looking over his wife gained significant attention. The notion of Lincoln's ghost resonated with a grieving nation, as it symbolized the idea of a protective spirit watching over the country during a time of immense loss. Now, I do have this picture.
Okay.
And I will post it for everyone to see.
Yay.
And you all can decide whether or not you think it is a hoax or if it is actually Abraham Lincoln.
What do you think? Or do you not want to say? You don't have to say. You can tell me later.
I don't mind. I think it's a hoax, honestly. It's too clear.
How would they have faked it?
I don't know, but this guy that did it was accused of being a fraud later, like after this picture was taken. Another reason why I think it's a hoax. Ghost stories from the White House, particularly those from the 19th century, grew out of the country's shifting attitudes towards the death of the Civil War. While these tales may seem like mere myths today, they once provided comfort to a nation grappling with unprecedented grief. The prevalence of death during the Civil War made spiritualism a necessary outlet for many, and while Lincoln's ghost may now be seen as a historical curiosity, it once offered a wounded nation a sense of hope and solace in the aftermath of the tragedy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think I saw one of the Bush twins one time talking about paranormal activity in the White House.
Oh, okay. I have some reports of the different presidents and family members that have said stuff. So I'll get into that. We're going to circle back to Jerry Smith. When it comes to the White House spirits, many may have originated from the tales spun by Jeremiah, also known as Jerry Smith. Smith began working at the White House during Ulysses S. Grant's administration in the late 1860s, and he served various roles over his 35-year career, including a footman, a butler, a cook, a doorman, and an official duster.
Like dusting?
Yes, dusting.
Oh, okay.
I also have a picture of him that I'm going to include.
Awesome.
Yeah. With his signature feather duster in hand, Smith often stood at the north entrance where journalists nicknamed him the Knight of the Feather Duster. An iconic photograph taken by Francis Benjamin Johnston in 1889 captures his dignified demeanor, which that's the picture I'm going to include.
Okay.
After Smith's death, reporters reflected on his life, praising the presence and grace that Johnston had captured in her portrait. In 1904, the Los Angeles Times obituary described him as the most conspicuous and liked servant in the White House, noting that his dignified manner made a lasting impression. He was not born to live a life of obscurity, the obituary read. With a dust broom, he was as dignified in his bearing as a king on his throne.
I love that.
People liked this guy. Smith was very popular figure with journalists, and he often shared stories on slow news days. It's possible that some of the famous White House ghost stories can be traced back to him. One Chicago newspaper reported that Smith was a firm believer in ghosts and loved entertaining others with his stories about the supernatural. According to Smith, the White House was haunted by spirits of all the departed presidents, and he even believed that the devil resided in the attic.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The devil resided in the attic of the White House.
According to Jerry.
Not in hell.
No, in the attic of the White House.
Where did the devil live before the White House was built?
I don't know. Jerry wasn't born then. He didn't know. He wasn't asking the devil. You don't just ask the devil where he lived.
I would.
Oh, well, you're not Jerry. Jerry frequently claimed that he heard strange noises, which offered as evidence of these hauntings. In reality, the attic noises turned out to be rats. And the devil story was just a playful ruse meant to keep Nellie Grant and her friends from venturing into the attic, which I love.
Okay. I love that too. So at our old house, we had down in the basement that room that had like the furnace and all that stuff.
I hated that room.
Yeah, right. So we didn't want the kids going back there, so we used to call it the dungeon.
There you go. Yeah.
And we told them not to go in the dungeon because the kids, they knew what happened in dungeons.
Yeah. I didn't like going in that room. Nevertheless, Smith maintained that he had seen the ghost of Lincoln, Grant, and McKinley, who, though they tried to speak, could only produce a buzzing sound, which is interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. When President McKinley was mortally wounded at an exposition in Buffalo, it was Jerry Smith who ran through the White House shouting, "The president is shot," before he was reported widely on news to being shot.
Before?
Yes.
How did he know?
Because the ghost of McKinley came to the White House and showed himself, is the story. Anyway.
I don't buy it.
Oh, you're no fun.
I don't buy that one.
Near the end of his life, when Smith was suffering from throat cancer, President Theodore Roosevelt visited him in his Washington, D.C. home, honoring the beloved duster before his passing in 1904.
I'm a big fan of this
I like
guy.
Jerry. Me too.
I like Jerry. I like that he treated his job as a duster with, you know, like, if you're going to do something, do it with excellence.
Do it with, right? And he did.
And he did, not only just with his dusting, but with his ghost stories as well.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I really like Jerry.
Me too. He's a stand-up guy. Okay, are you ready to get into the former residents of the White House ghostly experiences?
Yes, I am.
So remember, everybody that we talked about here, or we're about to talk about, has lived in the White House and is generally thought to be a pretty well-respected, sane human being.
Well, I guess everybody you're going to list.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's no reports of Trump saying he ran into ghosts at the White House.
Okay,
Otherwise, I wouldn't have said that.
All right.
Most White House ghost stories center on the long-deceased presidents and first ladies like Abigail Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Dolly Madison, Andrew Jackson, and Abraham Lincoln. However, some spectral figures are more loosely connected to the White House, such as Anne Straught, who was the daughter of Lincoln assassination conspirator Mary Straught. While many of these tales date back to the 19th century, more recent occupants of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue have also contributed to the White House's ghostly lore. But there are a lot more modern day encounters, right? So in 2018, in an interview on the Today Show, first daughter, Jenna Bush Hager, revealed that she and her twin sister, Barbara, experienced something supernatural while living in the White House.
It must have been this. This must have been what I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One night, they woke up to the sound of a phone ringing, followed by the unmistakable sound of 1920s piano music coming clear as day from the fireplace in their bedroom.
Interesting.
Yeah, the fireplace music, you wouldn't really think that's
no
makes sense.
Fireplaces don't play music.
They don't, at least not mine, any of the ones I've ever seen. That would be cool, though.
It would be cool.
They should. I'm going to patent that. You heard it here first. While President Bill Clinton and First Lady Hillary Clinton never reported any ghostly encounters, Mrs. Clinton once described the White House as a little creepy, especially at night. Yet, even during their time, some claim supernatural activity. President Clinton's brother, Roger, said he felt Lincoln's presence in the White House.
Okay.
Then, amazing, wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous, powerful, badass boss bitch, First Lady Michelle Obama, also confessed that she and President Obama experienced unexplained things during their 8 years in the residence. She described hearing strange noises in the hallway late at night, disturbing enough to prompt both her and the president to get out of bed and investigate.
Huh.
Even eerier, she recounted how some family members felt as though something was always gnawing at their feet, which I don't like that.
Something was always gnawing at their always?
Always. That's what it said. I guess when they were sleeping.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't like it.
No, leave my feet alone.
Nope. Right.
That's why you keep your feet underneath the covers.
I do think it's interesting that you're in the residence of the White House, you're the president, and arguably the most protected people there are, right?
Yeah.
And you hear a noise in the hallway and you're like, let me get up and investigate.
Yeah.
I'd be making a phone call. Hey guys, I hear something.
Hey, is there a Secret Service? Which the closest Secret Service person? Go look in the hallway for ghosts, please.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's fair. President Ronald Reagan shared his own eerie experiences at the 1986 state dinner, revealing that their dog Rex would bark frantically at the Lincoln bedroom door and refuse to enter. Always trust your pets. Just got to say that.
Yes.
Always trust your pets. Reagan's daughter and son-in-law even claimed to have seen an apparition in that same room on multiple occasions.
If my dog is always barking at a room and refuses to enter, you couldn't pay me to go into that room.
Nope. Something's scaring my dog enough to bark. I'm not going in there.
Right. Although my dog is afraid of nighttime, so maybe he wouldn't be the best.
That's fair, yeah.
He's old, though.
Your dog also did live in a haunted house for most of his life.
That's true, and you know what? It never seemed to bother him.
No, you sent me some videos of him barking at nothing when he was younger.
He would be barking, I guess. Well, when he was younger, I guess he barked all the damn time. So.
Yeah, but you sent me this one video where he was just like staring in your living room.
Well, that's what I mean. If he heard something, if he sensed something, he probably would have barked at it when he was little.
Yeah. So why do the White House ghost stories persist, Kelly?
Because they're fun, because people love to share ghost stories, because I think in some way people feel connected to the past through the ghost stories.
That was a rhetorical question.
Well, I answered it anyway.
Damn it. Okay. These spectral tales are more than just entertainment because they carry a lot of cultural significance. History is filled with ghost stories tied to old buildings. These ghosts, often bound to a specific date or event, repeat the same actions and serve as a reminder of the past unresolved tensions.
A residual.
Yes, a residual. Residual haunting. In American folklore, ghosts often serve as messengers of unfinished business or tragedies left unresolved, perhaps explaining why Lincoln's ghost is the most frequently spotted in the White House. And I just saw something out of the corner of my eye in my bedroom, and Ellie is right here at my feet.
What did it look like? Did it look like Lincoln?
It did not look like Lincoln.
What did it look like?
It was just a shadow. It literally looked like, because the way I'm facing, it just looked like Kelly. Looked like Kelly went.
I'm actually at your house right now.
You're there. You're here. It looked like Ellie walked around the corner of my bed, and then I looked down, and she was at my feet.
Oh, so it was like low.
Low. Like it looked like Ellie.
That's much creepier than a big, tall guy.
Is it, though?
I'm not going to say what I was just thinking because I want you to sleep tonight, but I want
Yeah,
you
please.
right now to tell it to get the hell out of your bedroom because it's not allowed to be
Get the
there.
hell out of my bedroom. You're not allowed to be here.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, we're
Now
good.
you're fine.
I'm going to sage the bedroom too once we're done with this episode. Anna Stewart's ghostly presence can also be traced to her desperate pleas for her mother, Mary Stewart, who was executed for her role in Lincoln's assassination, which I just think it's fascinating that her ghost is at the White House despite never being there.
That is kind of weird.
Yeah. But according to legend, her ghost is heard knocking on the White House door, pleading for clemency for her mother.
No.
No, yeah, no, I mean, I agree. But yes, that's what is reported. The historical ambiguity surrounding Mary Stuart's involvement in the plot may have fueled this ghostly tale of her daughter's unresolved anguish. Ghost stories often emerge from places of conflict, tragedy, and death, like battlefields, graveyards, or dark forest. And the White House is a site of political conflict, personal strife, and family discord. It is an ideal backdrop for its own ghostly legends. For instance, Andrew Jackson's spirit is also said to have been seen by both Mary Todd Lincoln and President Harry Truman, with Jackson's ghost manifesting in a state of agitation, reflecting his notorious political grudges. Okay, I saw it again, but Ellie got up this time. It was actually good. Ellie.
I saw you look, and I was like, uh-oh.
Nope, it was Ellie this time. She actually got up, and now she's sitting or laying on the ground at the corner of the bed, which is kind of weird in itself, but okay. Not all White House ghosts are as famous as the presidents or the first ladies. There are some lesser-known spirits, including a white-haired old man who disturbed President Chester Arthur at night, a mysterious maiden in a flowing white dress spotted in the old conservatory, and an unidentified boy rudely known as the Thing, who frightened the Taft household staff in 1911.
The Thing.
The Thing. That is what he is known as.
Okay.
Unlike more prominent White House ghosts, these figures haven't gained as much widespread recognition, perhaps due to the lack of a press agent. A little bit more about the old man. In 1883, the Washington Critic reported the ghost of an old man haunting the second-floor bedrooms, and he was described by one of the White House staff. This eerie figure was said to be an aged and bent man with a long white beard and hair, ghastly and wavy, bright and glaring eyes, and long, scrawny fingers. I don't like that description.
No, I don't like it.
I think I'm out, Kelly. I think I'm out.
Yeah. You're out?
Not out. I'm out. That did it. That did me in. The long, scrawny fingers. Ugh.
Did you ever watch the show, The Ghost Brothers?
No.
Because they would always ask, like, are you, like, staying, running, or burning the building down?
Okay. I like that.
Something like that. It's like 3 options like that.
I like that.
Met them at Paracon too.
Oh, that's
what
cool.
An awesome group of men. Like,
oh, nice.
They were great.
Yeah. I think in this instant, I'm just running.
Just running? Okay.
Yeah. I'm not ready to burn the building down. I'd probably also, be arrested.
Right.
And sent to jail for the rest of my life. Not worth it.
Yes. No.
So this man's walk was described as noiseless, yet stately. And his presence was marked by a peculiar electric sensation that filled the air.
Noiseless, yet stately. That's a wild description of something.
That is.
That says absolutely nothing.
No, nothing. It doesn't. But that's how he was described.
Okay.
It was also rumored that this ghost had disturbed President Ulysses Grant at night. But despite these unsettling encounters, this apparition never became as famous as some of the other White House ghosts traditionally mentioned.
Okay.
Then we have the mysterious maiden. Now, late one evening in 1897, a White House policeman noticed a light in the greenhouse complex, which once stood on the west side of the building. It was demolished in 1902. Probably after this guy spotting this mysterious maiden ghost in there, I would have. He burned it down. He said he was burning it down.
He chose burn it down.
He did. Suspecting an intruder that was stealing the exotic flowers in the greenhouse, the officer went to investigate. I know it was 1897, but did you get many intruders in the White House back then? Because nowadays that's not even feasible.
Probably. It was probably a lot less, probably a lot easier to access.
Probably. But upon entering the conservatory, he encountered a tall, beautiful lady dressed in the fashion of the early 19th century. He tried to speak to her, but she vanished, leaving behind a musical laugh and a glow that lingered in the greenhouse.
I like her.
I like her too. I'm staying.
A musical laugh?
I know. I'm staying for this one.
I'm gonna stay for that one too.
After searching the area and finding no trace of the woman, the officer brushed off the incident. However, when the light appeared again a month later, he returned to the conservatory only to feel a rush of air and a touch on his shoulder. Turning around, he saw the same mysterious lady. Overcome with fear, he fainted. This is the guy guarding our president, but seeing a mysterious maiden made him faint. After reporting the story to his superiors, the officer was discharged. He fainted on the job.
Why. Yeah,
really, he probably got drunk and passed out and then made up this whole story to cover it up.
Right.
But he later shared his tale with his friends and a journalist, and who eventually recorded the strange encounter. But despite this, the story faded from popular White House ghost lore by the 20th century.
I like this lady. I want to hear her musical laugh.
Me too. I want to make her laugh. I won't faint, I promise.
Right. I mean,
I wonder where she is now that the conservatory is not there.
Have you ever been touched by a spirit?
No.
I wasn't sure.
No, I haven't.
If you ever felt anything.
Nope. Okay, The Thing, Kelly.
The Thing.
One of the more intriguing ghost stories involves The Thing that allegedly haunted the White House in 1911. President William Howard Taft's military aide, Major Archibald Butt.
First of all, Major Butt is really funny. But Archibald?
Yep.
Okay.
He's got a great name. Well, anyway, Major Butt wrote to his sister Clara about the rumors. It seems that the White House is haunted. The ghost, it seems, is a young boy, about 14 or 15 years old from its description. But noted, Major Butt noted that the staff reported feeling a slight pressure on the shoulder as if someone were leaning over to see what they were doing. When Major Butt...
What are we in 6th grade?
I think we are. When Major Butt mentioned the gossip to President Taft, the president became furious, worrying that the story might spread to the public. Taft instructed Butt to warn... I tried so hard.
I know.
Taft instructed Butt to warn the housekeeper that any staff member caught repeating the stories about the thing would immediately be fired. Poor Major Butt. Ghost stories, like those of the White House, serve as a creative way to make sense of historical conflicts and unresolved issues. The White House, with its storied past and significant role in the nation's history, is the perfect stage for these spooky narratives. As a home, the White House is particularly suited for ghost stories, reflecting our deep cultural connection to houses as intimate spaces where history, memory, and the supernatural often intersect. While many notable figures died within the White House, the most prominent ghost stories focus not on these individuals, but on the unresolved tensions and dramas of the nation's past. And that brings us to the end of this episode about the ghost of the White House. We hope you enjoyed exploring these eerie tales and chilling history that haunt the halls of America's most famous residents.
If you loved what you heard, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen. Your support helps us reach more listeners and share even more spooky stories.
It really does.
I have a doozy of one that I will be sharing early next year.
Yes.
January next year.
Please stay and hang out until you get that one.
Yes.
And you can always follow us on Instagram at notmyghostpodcast and on Facebook at notmyghost, not my problem. We post weekly updates, awesome pictures, and other fun stuff.
If you want even more ghostly content, consider joining our Patreon. We have some fantastic exclusive perks for our supporters.
Yes, we do. All three of them.
All three of them.
We love
them. We love
do.
Those three. And if you've ever had a spine-tingling paranormal encounter, share your story with us at notmyghostpodcast@gmail.com, and you just might hear it featured on a future episode.
And we're just going to keep sounding like a broken record until you all get on your damn computers and send us some ghost stories.
Yes.
Because we don't have that many yet, and we want them. So finish this episode, go to your computer, type out an email, and send it to us. Please.
Yes. Please.
Thank you for joining us on this haunting exploration of the ghost of the White House. Remember, as you wander through the corridors of history, keep this in mind.
If it's not your ghost,
it's not your problem.
Until next time, stay spooky.
And stay skeptical.